Hey YouTube, I'll be reviewing a film that came out last year called Macbeth. Now, this little gem stars Michael Fassbender as the title character. Now, this is basically about Macbeth, who, if you don't know the story, it's a Shakespearean tale about Macbeth, who is a general in the Scottish army under King Duncan, and he receives a prophecy from three said witches who tell him that he's gonna be king through some dirty means. Now, this movie, let me tell you off the bat. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you or anything, but you should go and read the actual original play anyway, because it's been around for, I don't know, hundreds of years. But anyway, right off the bat, this movie is just a cinematic gem. I mean, visually speaking, every shot is just intricately put together. The grading is amazing. The use of colors, it's just I don't know, it's crazy. Literally, it's a crazy movie. It's dark. It's a very dark, violent tale about a man's rise to power very quickly, actually, through some dirty means. And it shows you how power in itself is corrupting, and you can go insane if you seek power just for the sake of having power, for no actual greater good, to serve no other greater purpose. So, other than cinematography, I have to say, this film is, in tone, it's not for everybody, I have to say, because the way it was marketed, kind of marketed it as a sort of action war film, sort of like Braveheart, but it's not like that. There was literally one battle, full scale battle in the entire film, and this film is about nearly 2 hours long. Well, technically speaking, there's two battle scenes, but the last one isn't a full-scale battle. But nonetheless, it's a very well shot film. It's beautiful. It's dark. It's dreary. There's a lot of use of oversaturated colors in some scenes in order to carry over some intensity. Depending on what is happening in the scene. Like, for example, there are a couple scenes where there are oversaturated reds and oranges, and it just looks so creepy and dark. It almost feels like you've stepped into hell or something. I don't know. It's unsettling. It really is. Another note is some of the performances. Yes, the performances. Michael Fassbender, as usual, he's amazing, man. Like, his performance in this film it's kind of, in a weird way, it's reminiscent of his performance in 12 Years a Slave, in the sense that he plays a psychologically degenerated character. I mean, they didn't say it in so many words in 12 Years a Slave, but you could tell that his character was a nut. He was crazy. He was batshit crazy out of his mind. And in this film as well, he just encapsulates the character of a man who has just descended into madness because of power, because of gaining the highest seat of power in the country that one man can possibly gain through some really corrupt means. And Macbeth does some really, really bad things in this film. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of burning alive and of innocent people, and yeah, I won't spoil it, but he does a lot of nasty shit in this film. But nonetheless, it's a very good film, visually speaking. In terms of the story and the tone, I have to say, for what it sets out to do, it does it very well. It was immaculately told from a story perspective. It was told actually very well. I can't think of any, if any, there was any time or point in the film where it slowed down or deviated from what it was going for. I think it stuck to its theme, it stuck to its story, it stuck to its plot pretty damn well, and yeah, it was a very good job on the director's part. Um, oh yes, one thing I loved about this film is you sympathize with Macbeth. You can tell that this guy, he was never really established as a good stand-up guy in the beginning of the film. You don't know what kind of guy he was, but you see his descent into madness and you buy it. And it's only later, probably somewhere around the halfway mark of the film, where he actually has dialogue with his wife, Lady Macbeth. And there's one line here he says that encapsulates the entirety of his behavior and his descent into madness. And he says, "Full of scorpions is my mind." Now, if that doesn't just encapsulate for you in one line as to how batshit crazy someone is, I think that actually means I'm batshit crazy in Shakespearean. Yeah, but it's a lot of there's a lot of really good dialogue delivery here. At first, I have to say it does. It's not easy to get into, considering how they speak. They speak Old English, Old Shakespearean. I don't know if I got that right. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, the dialogue is very much faithful to the source material. They don't speak like we do. They speak like they're reciting a script, you know? So, yeah, it takes some time to get into, but if you can get into that very easily, then that's great for you. But the first time around, it kind of irked me at first. I couldn't get into it, but I was so drawn in by the cinematography and everything that was going on that I had to watch it again, and I loved it the second time around and the third time. One thing though that I found kind of weird about this movie was the fact that during the battle scenes, for example, it didn't seem like anyone was wearing any armor, and it didn't seem practical. It didn't make any sense because, I mean, typically in this period in time, I mean, warriors, soldiers would be required to wear armor in order to protect themselves from enemies. I mean, like all soldiers wore in Macbeth were these cool leather fabric outfits that mimicked the image of armor, but it clearly wasn't armor at all. It was just leather and like some cotton type material. I don't know, but that's like a nitpick. That's like the one thing I think that I found unsettling. Oh wait, when I think about it, there's one more thing. It's also a nitpick, but it's pretty vital as well. Marion Cotillard, she's French. She didn't really pull off much of a Scottish accent at all, considering that this time period is in ancient Scotland. So I don't really understand, but I kind of get that it's hard to transition from a French accent to a Scottish accent. And a Scottish accent in general is just pretty hard to get down. So it was kind of off-putting for me to hear a British accent on the backdrop of like an ensemble of characters who all spoke very good Scottish accents. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little bit of an it's just a nitpick, but yeah, it kind of took me out of the movie a bit. But I got over it because her performance more than compensated for it, and she did a pretty damn good job. And so overall, I'd say I actually do recommend this film to anybody actually, but I do understand that it's not for everybody. It's a very artsy type film. It's an art house film when you actually look at it, but it has elements of your typical Hollywood cinema in it. But in terms of the narrative and the basic characters that there are in this film, it doesn't really try to revamp the story too much in order to appeal to a more modern audience in comparison to the source material. It actually, that's what I love about this film, because I'm a sucker for any film or form of media that stays faithful to its source material. If it has source material, I really commend when a film stays really faithful to the original script or the original novel, and that is why I honestly do recommend this film. And overall, I'd give it a 3.9 out of 5 as a final score. And yeah, that's the end of the review. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Was that a good Scottish accent? I don't know. But yeah, please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I appreciate any and all feedback. Check you next time for my next upload.